So good morning. At the outset, let me thank the organizers for inviting me to talk to you on some important topic. The topic that I'm going to talk on is the effect of social media on academic performance. And just now as I heard, this is going to be the last session. I think the end of the seminar or any conference generally is seen like when it is over and when do we go home. Anyway, but then consider this is something which is very important for you. Impact of social media on academic performance. We all are habituated to the social media today, every one of us. Is there anyone in the audience who is not using any of the social media right now? I would like to know really. Is there anyone who is not using the social medium today? You all are using it, isn't it? So let us see how it affects the academic performance. Now before we really look at how social media impacts the academic performance, let us see first what is academic performance for us. You all are the college students, teachers. To break this topic into the keywords, you can see academic performance is the important word here. Academic performance. Then is the social media, and then we have the effect. So already you are in the process of your academic excellence. You want to accomplish your academic excellence. We have been doing this. Progress in academics has been happening over so many years. Now we are in that process. Whether there is social media or not, academic performance is going to be there. Now with social media, what is the academic performance that we are going to look at? So we have to really see whether the social media have improved or reduced our performance as far as academics is concerned. So before we really go into details of how it impacts the academic performance, what is academic performance is the most important thing that I think is for you people. So when we talk of academic performance, there are two words again, academics and the performance. Would any one of you like to define the word academics? Considering you all are the academicians, considering you all are in the process of academic excellence, what does it really mean for you? What academics means for you? And what academic performance means for you? So just going through the literature and understanding what we know about it, let us see what it means. Academics and academic performance. So I tried myself to find out what it means and how was the word derived. There is a long history. It was in the time of Plato when the word academics was first derived. We are not going to go in the details of that. But then, extending from that, academia has come to mean the cultural accumulation of knowledge. Cultural accumulation of knowledge, its development and transmission across generations, and its practitioners and transmitters. Consider you and me and all the people who are staying right now there on the planet Earth are all cultured people, and the culture in the form of knowledge that we are having right now is nothing but the impact of academics or academic development over hundreds of years. So it is the accumulation of knowledge that people have created over the years. Now you are in that process of creating. You are in the process of receiving whatever has been created earlier. You are in the process of getting it, creating it, and again transmitting it to the subsequent generations. Is it simple? That way it is really simple. So whatever we are doing throughout our life, we are learning. Since we are born till we die, what we do is completely learning. But then when it comes to the structured learning as a process, as the institutionalized learning that you are doing right now being a college students, that is what we call as academics. The rest of the learning that we do outside the institutions, we don't consider as academics. But then that is also the process of development, transmission of knowledge, transmission of the cultured knowledge from generation to generation. You getting me? Now just think for a while, what is the purpose of all this? Why do we do what we do right now? Why do you do what you do right now? Why are you there in the colleges? Why are you here in this hall? What is the answer to this question? Who would like to answer this question? Anybody? Why do we do whatever we do there in the institutions? Whatever we call as academics? Why do we do that? There are a lot many answers. I know every one of you has answer in your mind. Which is the correct answer? Which could be the ultimately correct answer? It could be only one thing. We really want to be happy. That's the only thing. We want to be happy. We want to live our life with complete happiness, freedom, peace of mind. And at the same time, we want to create that happiness, peace of mind and freedom for the people around us. That is the purpose. Seeing it from various angles, the question comes whether really the academic performance and the excellence is making us achieve what we intend to. What we intend to is happiness, peace of mind and freedom. Is what we are doing right now for that making us accomplish happiness? Is a question. Anyway, whatever we are sticking to right now as academic performance in the process of academic excellence, looking at that and looking at social media and their impact on the academic performance, we will go ahead. So when we look at the term academic from various angles, there are institutions called as academic institutions, there are people called as academic people. Nowadays it seems to mean anything that occurs in a school. So earlier we used to think whatever happens there in the colleges and the institutions was only academic. Whatever people are confined there in the teaching institutions were said to be academic. But now, whatever happens there even in the school is considered to be academic. Earlier it was not. Just this is one of the many examples of broader, more permissive view of the proper function of educational institutions. The goal of education used to be the development of mental powers in the earlier years. Now, it is something different. Along with development of mental power, there are so many other things we're talking about in schools, in colleges. So it's not only the transfer of knowledge that we have gained over the years. It's not only the creation of knowledge that you are coming out with research. But it has to do with so many other faculties that we are going to look at. Thus, taking it for granted that academic performance is the outcome of structured learning. So when we say academic performance, what do you look at? You look at your grades in the examinations, you look at the degrees that you acquire, you look at the research papers you have published, you look at your excellence when you are in the process of learning and creating knowledge. Right? So taking it for granted that academic performance is the outcome of structured learning. When we say structured learning, that is what you are doing right now in the institution where people have said this accumulated knowledge in the books has to be learned in this specific way, through lectures, through discussions, through seminars, through conferences. This is a structured way. The question then comes, what is really learning? If I ask you what is learning, how many of you could answer the question, what is learning? Though you are doing it since you are born, and you will keep doing it till you die. What is the answer to the question, what is learning? Who would like to answer this? Don't you want to participate? I am asking you. There are 100 and more people sitting here, and there is a simple question, what is learning? Who would like to answer this? नहीं करना आंसर इसको? like to answer? What is learning? Grasping. Okay. What else? Process of development. Okay. What else? When we define it in such a way that whatever we say, it completely encompasses the learning. So how would you define it?
Acquiring new things.
Acquiring new things. Okay. What else? Yeah. जोर से बोलो. जो भी हम रोज सीखते हैं उसको हमारे लाइफ में इम्प्लीमेंट करना है. फटाफट. लेकिन डेफिनेशन क्या हो सकता है पूरा लर्निंग का? As it is defined, yes. Perfect. Can you be a little louder so that all of them listen to what you say? Learning is a process. Yeah, please come. See, this is something very critical because we all are doing learning. And if asked about what learning is, we are unable to define what it is. Please go ahead.
Learning is any relatively permanent change in behavior brought about by experience or practice.
Fantastic. Very good. Thank you. Now this is something which is the concept. When defined this way, this becomes a concept. Now what is there for you? When I ask you, what are you doing when you are learning? And what is the outcome of your learning? What would you say? क्या होता है एक्चुअली? आप जब लर्निंग कर रहे हो तो उस वक्त आपके साथ में क्या हो रहा है और लर्निंग होने के बाद में आपके साथ क्या हुआ होता है? जब आप बोलोगे कि नहीं मेरा लर्निंग हो चुका है, आई हैव कंप्लीटेड लर्निंग मीन्स व्हाट? आई हैव कंप्लीटेड लर्निंग माय MBBS मीन्स व्हाट? Look at it as a concept is something different. That becomes the process for somebody else. But what is there for me? When I say I'm learning, what does it mean for me? It is relatively permanent change in the behavior. That means that you become someone who you were not. You are getting transformed minute to minute, day to day, every day. You are not going to remain the same person. Once you have learned something, you have added something here in such a way that you as a person is different. That is what learning is. The question here is, why do you want to be different? Do we really want to be different is the question. And if yes, why do we want to be different? If the purpose is relatively permanent change in the behavior, why do we want that is a question. Is your behavior not appropriate right now when we talk of your behavior? So when we are saying all this, we are talking about your behavior in relation to your own self, your behavior in relation to the people around you, and your behavior in this world. In such a way that you are living powerfully, you are living happily, you are living with freedom and peace of mind, and you are making that available for each and every person around you. Whatever is your level of knowledge, whatever is it that you have learned, ultimate purpose is this. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever defined that? What is that you want really? As an outcome of performance, as an outcome of the academic performance. How many of you are really in the course that you are right now? Because you decided to be there in that course, because you wanted to accomplish something. How many of you are there in the course that you are doing right now? I'm sure very, very few of you are there. You are there just because you got admission. You are just there because you didn't get admission to somewhere else. How many of you are there? You are there in the course because you said, I will be doing this course because I want something to accomplish. How many of you really know what do you want to accomplish? Is a question. If I ask you right now, come here and say what you really want in life, how many of you are really able to say what you want in life? If the performance outcome, if the academic performance outcome is accomplishing what you intend to accomplish, जो आपको चाहिए वो मिलना चाहिए, इसलिए अगर आप कर रहे हो तो पहले तो ये बताओ ना आपको चाहिए क्या? Unless and until we answer these questions, it is foolish to look at what affects the academic performance. Like here we're talking of social media affecting academic performance. How many of you agree with me? How many of you agree with me while saying this? Right? अगर हमको ये पता ही नहीं है कि हम जो कर रहे हो किस लिए कर रहे हैं, हमको चाहिए क्या, तो फिर ये किस लिए देखें कि भाई एकेडमिक इसका सोशल मीडिया का इम्पैक्ट क्या हो रहा है। तो सोशल मीडिया रहे ना रहे, अगर आपका एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस के बारे में अगर आपको पता ही नहीं है कि मुझे क्यों करना है और जो मैं कर रहा हूं इसका पर्पस क्या है, तो फिर उसका मतलब क्या है देखने का सोशल मीडिया का इम्पैक्ट का। आई एम क्रिएटिंग समथिंग विच इज वेरी क्रिटिकल फॉर यू एज academicians, for every one of us, not for you but for me also. This is something which is very very powerful and important for each of us to let us know, because there are two selves. To let me know myself, what is that I really want in my life. Unless and until I know that, I won't have my actions appropriate to that intention. मुझे जो चाहिए वो अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं, तो मेरी एक्शंस उसको मिलाने के हिसाब से नहीं होगी। मेरी एक्शंस फिर कैसे भी होगी, किसने कुछ कहा और मैंने कुछ किया, ऐसे होगी, और अल्टीमेटली आई माइट लैंड अप समवेयर विच आई नेवर इंटेंडेड टू। दिस इज व्हाट वी सी इन एवरीडे लाइफ अराउंड अस। हमारे घर में, हमारे आसपास, हमारे दोस्त लोग, जिंदगी में यही दिखता है कि हम कर रहे हैं कुछ, तो क्यों ये नहीं पता। अगर ये पूछा क्या चाहिए, वो नहीं पता, तो कर रहे हैं कुछ, तो क्यों, किसने तो बोला, क्यों, क्योंकि वो अवेलेबल है, क्यों, क्योंकि वो करने से कुछ तो मिलेगा। अरे चाहिए क्या, वो बोला ना, चाहिए क्या ये देखो ना, तो फिर करो क्या करना है। The thing is, we are not able to say, we are not able to pinpoint, we are not able to map that future that really we want to live in. हमको कौन सा भविष्य चाहिए, कैसा चाहिए हमारे लिए, खुद के लिए। Forget about the world, but say about you. What kind of world you want to live in? What kind of life you want to have? ये जब तक आपका क्लियर नहीं होगा, तब तक बाकी किसी भी चीज का इम्पैक्ट देखने में कोई मतलब नहीं होगा। It is going to be your impact on what you do in life as such. Is that right? If you are looking your life, living your life just because people are saying you live it this way, आपने रास्ते से जाते वक्त किसने बोला ये रास्ता बंद है, उससे जाओ, आप उधर से चले गए। आगे जाने के बाद में किसने बोला नहीं ये रास्ते से नहीं, वो रास्ते से जाओ, क्योंकि आप लोगों के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट हो, क्योंकि आप ये देख रहे हो दुनिया क्या बोल रही है, क्योंकि आप देख रहे हो कि लोग ज्यादा से ज्यादा कौन से रास्ते से जा रहे हैं और आप उस रास्ते से जा रहे हो, तो यू विल नॉट रियली गो टू वेयर यू वांट, you will land up somewhere where life will take you, and that is not what makes you powerful, happy and free. This process is making us disempowered all the time. So purpose of this, looking from a different angles, ऐसे दिखता है कि ठीक है ना यार, करना है इतना, एजुकेशन होने के बाद में फिर देखेंगे क्या देखेंगे। फिर ये जिंदगी इस वक्त की जो है, इट इज सो पावरफुल, इट इज सो एनर्जेटिक, यू आर सो एनर्जेटिक राइट नाउ, ये बाद में नहीं आता। Anyway, so this is what I really wanted you to enter into self-inquiry. खुद को आपको पूछना है। जिस सेमिनार में मैं यहाँ बैठा हूँ, जिसमें ये एक टॉपिक है, इम्पैक्ट ऑफ सोशल मीडिया ऑन एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस, व्हाट डज इट रियली मीन फॉर मी, मेरे लिए क्या है, क्यों ऐसे ही बैठे हो आप? इसलिए बैठे हो कि आपके कॉलेज ने भेजा, इसलिए बैठे हो कि आपको एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस पे एक्सेलेंस चाहिए, सही में क्या है, व्हाट इज द रीजन? Unless and you give a thought to this, you will not be able to get this thing, and ultimately not this thing, because ये तो 40 मिनट का टॉपिक होगा। आप अपनी जिंदगी में क्या करना चाहते हो, जो आप अभी कर रहे हो, आपका कोर्स कर रहे हो, और आगे क्या, ये जो सवाल है, तो इससे रिलेटेड आई वॉन्ट यू टू एंटर इनटू दैट सेल्फ इंक्वायरी टू फाइंड आउट रियली what are the factors, not only the social media, what are the different factors that helps you in academic excellence. But before that, I want you to find out for yourself what is your purpose of the academic excellence. क्यों करना है, क्यों excellence ये, right? To go ahead, so the question is, what is learning, and that is what we have seen right now. So this is the definition. What is learning? It is the act of acquiring new or modifying and reinforcing existing knowledge, behaviors, skills, values or preferences, and may involve synthesizing different types of information. Seen as a definition, word-wise, is a concept, again as I said, applied to yourself when you are doing it. You are doing it right now. You are learning. So apply it to yourself. Are you doing this? And is the intention of doing this getting accomplished by doing whatever you are doing right now? By default, learning is going to result in a relatively permanent change in the behavior of the person. Whether that relatively permanent change is for betterment or for degradation, that is a different issue. It is going to result in, so whatever you are learning, you are absolutely learning. Whatever you are learning, that is going to result in a relatively permanent change in you as a person. See whether that relatively permanent change is going to make you accomplish what you intend to accomplish. आपको जो चाहिए वो मिलने के हिसाब से ये हो रहा है क्या अभी learning, ये देखो आप. Only when you will be able to answer this question, you will understand the impact of social media on academic performance. So when we talk of the academic achievement or academic performance, what do we really look at? Is it the end point? Academic performance, like I got a degree. So is that the end point, academic performance? No, it is not. It is the ongoing process. Every minute you can see whether you have performed or not. For example, sitting here in this class right now, if I am saying something, you are relating, you are inquiring with yourself, and if you get something, that is again excellence. You are getting something here and here only. If I take an examination within 10 minutes, next 10 minutes on what I said, I will be able to come to know what you got out of what I said. That would be assessment of the learning process. That is academic excellence. You getting me? At the end of the day, if I take a question, if I ask you some certain questions, you will be giving me answers. So whether whatever was delivered to you was appropriately delivered and whether it could transform you, change your behavior relatively. If it changed, then learning had happened. If it changed for betterment, if it changed for accomplishing what you intend to accomplish, then definitely that learning has empowered you. What ultimately matters is empowering you, enabling you in such a way that you create happiness, peace of mind, freedom for yourself and people around you. You getting me? So it can be in the classroom, teacher asking, teacher teaching at the same time asking, at the end of the course, teacher taking examinations, at the end of the syllabus, you getting a degree. This is excellence, isn't it? And beyond that then, your mind and whatever is information recorded here, whatever views are formed, all that, with that, if you are empowered yourself and you are empowering the society around you, that is what the academic excellence is all about. That is what the intention of the academic excellence is all about. What is meaning of academic thus? Now what you are doing right now, as we said earlier, academics was considered earlier to be only the process of accumulation of knowledge and transfer of knowledge and creation of knowledge. But then now it is not so. It involves all the three domains. I hope most of you understand what it means. Cognitive domain, affective domain and the psychomotor domain. When we say that the educational system is not the perfect system right now, हम सब लोग बोलते हैं. आप में से ऐसे कितने लोग हैं जो बोल रहे हैं कि एजुकेशन सिस्टम परफेक्ट है हमारी अभी? वेरी फ्यू, है ना? हम लोग हमेशा कंप्लेन करते हैं कि हमारी एजुकेशन सिस्टम ठीक नहीं है. क्यों नहीं है ठीक? बिकॉज आफ्टर गोइंग थ्रू ऑल दिस प्रोसेस वी आर नॉट एम्पावर्ड. हम लोगों को डिग्री मिली होती है, लेकिन डिग्री मिलने के बाद में हमको जो चाहिए वो नहीं मिलता. तो पहले हमको ही पता नहीं होता हमको चाहिए क्या, तो मिलेगा कैसे, ये सवाल है. दूसरी बात ये है कि ये जो प्रोसेस है, जिस प्रोसेस में वी टॉकिंग अबाउट द कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट, कॉग्निशन इन अ सेंस, गेटिंग नॉलेज, इंटरप्रेटिंग नॉलेज, storing knowledge and then using that knowledge whenever it is necessary, that is cognitive domain, and that is what happens in the schools and colleges. But beyond that, there is affective domain, there is psychomotor domain. Here psychomotor domain is associated with development of skills. Whatever you learn, it has to be applied in the life. And when we say life, it is not the life beyond you, it is you in life. So it has to be applied for your betterment and the betterment of others. So that skill development has to be there, that is psychomotor development. And the third component, which is most important component, affective domain, which takes into consideration your emotions. आपके इमोशंस, आपकी भावना, किसी भी वक्त अगर आपको पूछा गया अभी कैसे लग रहा है आपको, तो you will be able to tell me something कि अभी थोड़ा सा डर लग रहा है या फिर थोड़ा गुस्सा आ गया है मुझे क्योंकि आप कुछ तो बोल रहे हैं मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, या फिर मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है. सो यू आर हैविंग द इमोशंस एसोसिएटेड विद एनी काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन. तो कंसिडरिंग दिस इमोशनल एस्पेक्ट एज वन ऑफ द वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ यू एज एन इंडिविजुअल, एम्पावरिंग दैट इज one aspect of your performance. And we consider nowadays, along with knowledge, this aspect is more important, very very important. You see people in the world, जिनके पास में डिग्रीज बहुत कम है, नॉलेज बहुत कम है, थोड़ा सा नॉलेज, डिग्री चाहे स्कूल में गए भी नहीं, बट देन दे आर वेरी वेरी पावरफुल पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड. वी सी इट. हम लोगों का इतिहास भी बताता है और आज भी है. देयर आर पीपल who don't have degrees, who have no formal school education, but then they are so powerful in the world, like they can hire thousands and thousands of people like you and me, because they are so stable and so powerful in using their own emotions and using the emotions of all the people around them powerfully. This affective domain is what is missing there in the education. Affective domain is missing in the education, and that's why we really don't understand what we learn, whether we can apply it for the betterment or not. Knowledge is factual knowledge. Knowledge doesn't make much of the difference. हमको बहुत कुछ पता है, knowledge बहुत है हमारे पास. At the tip of your finger, a lot of knowledge available, but that is not making a difference. What is making a difference is you knowing what you really want in life, and you using your emotions, your energy, and your time for the betterment of yourself and the people around you. There are so many factors which contribute to the academic performance of the students. We will not go in details of that. You all know about it. There have been so many studies showing the impact of various factors on the academic performance. We don't want to go into details of that right now. Here we have only one factor that we're talking about, and that is the social media and its impact on the academic performance. Whenever we talk of how is the academic performance measured, in general, academic performance in the schools and colleges is measured by examinations, right? We do take examinations. There are various types of examinations, written, oral. In written, there are so many types. So we take examinations and we find out how is the excellence of the academics of the person and of the institution and of the complete ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. हमारे महाराष्ट्र में अगर बात किया जाए तो स्टेट बोर्ड का एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस क्या है हम बात कर सकते हैं. इस कॉलेज की बात किया जाए तो इस कॉलेज का एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस क्या है इसकी बात कर सकते हैं. एक क्लास की बात किया जाए तो उसका एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस क्या है इसकी बात कर सकते हैं. एक इंडिविजुअल की अगर किया, whether a particular person has achieved the academic performance, got the academic performance, what is that performance, we can measure it, and that the measure is based on the examinations. California University is using what we call as the academic performance index, and that academic performance index constitutes test scores, means exam scores, student attendance, school staff attendance, and student graduation rates. I as an individual consider this is again inefficient and inadequate way of assessing the academic performance, because at the end of the score I can tell you there are thousands of what we call as clever people. बहुत हैं, इतने होशियार लोग हैं हमारे आसपास, लेकिन उनकी होशियारी कहाँ चलती है आप देखो. उनकी होशियारी खाली लिखने में जाएगी, बात करने में जाएगी, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू एप्लीकेशन नहीं आएगा. सो इट इज नॉट द नॉलेज ओनली दैट मेक्स अ डिफरेंस. इट इज नॉट द रिजल्ट एट द एंड. जो मैं एमबीबीएस किया तो मेरे एमबीबीएस के साथ जब मैंने किया था तो हमारे इसमें कुछ 4-5 लोग थे जो टॉपर्स थे, हमेशा टॉपर रहे. उसके बाद में भी उन्होंने पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन किया, उसमें भी टॉपर रहे. इफ यू लुक एट देम राइट नाउ आफ्टर 25 years and see whether they have accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, still here they have a question, what is that they want to accomplish? Simple thing, are they happy in whatever they are doing? Very few of them are happy in whatever they are doing. But then if you look at those who were never the toppers and assess them in general, you will find that their happiness is not related to what they accomplished. वो वैसे भी खुश है. They are happy and they are making people happy. You getting me? So academic performance, if we are talking, is the outcome of the educational system, and if the outcome is ultimately what we are looking for is happiness and the freedom and the peace of mind, is that accomplished? That is the question, and that has to be included ultimately there in the academic performance index, which is not done at all right now there in the in the examination system or the educational system. What is the process of academic excellence? अगर आपको पूछा गया कि academic excellence किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है तो आप क्या बोलोगे? मी आस्किंग यू अ क्वेश्चन. तुम्हाला विचारलं की तुमचा अकॅडमिक परफॉर्मन्स कोणकोणत्या फॅक्टर्सवर डिपेंड करतो. We'll be able to see so many factors are there, but there are only two distinctions. One is effectivity, another is efficiency. अगर आप एक पर्टिकुलर क्लास में हो अभी, तो इस क्लास में मुझे क्या अकम्प्लिश करना है, मतलब when we talk in terms of the score of test, 100 मार्क का अगर क्वेश्चन पेपर है तो 100 मार्क्स मुझे मिलने चाहिए आउट ऑफ 100. दैट हैज टू बी द हाईएस्ट अकम्प्लिशमेंट. यू गेटिंग मी? राइट? It can be below 100, it can be 100, it cannot be above 100. So, your effectivity could be 100%. When you say that I have learned the course and you get 100%, that means you are effective in performing. You with me? जेव्हा तुम्हाला 100 मार्क मिळवायचे आहे, 100 मार्काचा पेपर आहे आणि 100 मार्क तुम्ही मिळवले, याचा अर्थ जे तुम्ही लर्निंग करायला पाहिजे होते ते परफेक्ट झालं असं आम्ही म्हणणार इफेक्टिव्हिटीच्या याच्यामध्ये, सेन्समध्ये. पण क्वेश्चन हा येतो की काही लोकांना हे 1 वर्षातही करायला आवडेल, काही लोकांना 10 वर्षे लागतील कदाचित 100% मिळवायला. इज दैट व्हाट वी वांट? वी वांट इट इन अ गिवन पीरियड. हमारे स्कूल्स में, हमारे कॉलेजेस ने कुछ बोला है कि 1 साल के अंदर इतना करना है आपको. हो सकता है आप 6 महीने में भी करो, हो सकता है 6 महीने में भी करो, तो आपकी इफेक्टिविटी डबल हो जाएगी. बट देन व्हेन वी टॉक ऑफ एफिशिएंसी, इफेक्टिविटी इज अकम्प्लिशिंग व्हाट यू वांट टू अकम्प्लिश. वो तो चाहिए वो मिलाना, लेकिन कब और कैसे मिलाना, कितने समय में मिलाना, that depends on your efficiency, how effective you are in using your time, energy and resources. आपके पास 24 घंटा ही है रोज का. उस 24 घंटे में ही आपको जो भी परफॉर्म करना है, जो भी एक्शंस लेनी है, वो एक्शंस लेनी है. तो एक्शंस आप कैसे लेते हो और वो आप अकम्प्लिश कैसे करते हो, इसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है आपकी एफिशिएंसी और इफेक्टिविटी कैसी है. अल्टीमेटली इट्स अ गेम ऑफ योर टाइम एंड एनर्जी, और कुछ भी नहीं है दूसरा. आपके पास दिया हुआ उतना ही समय है और इतनी ही एनर्जी है. उस एनर्जी को एफिशिएंटली कैसे यूज करना, टाइम को एफिशिएंटली कैसे यूज करना, दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन यू. एंड व्हाट इज द फैक्टर ऑन विच वेदर यू यूज दैट टाइम एंड योर एनर्जी इफेक्टिवली, व्हाट इज दैट फैक्टर ऑन विच इट डिपेंड्स? किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है? Out of you 100 people, consider someone is there who is using his time and energy to the optimum level, and there is someone who is using it to the lowest possible level. What is the difference? Why is this happening? क्यों हो रहा है ऐसे? Do you have an answer to this? Only one reason is there. What is that is there in your mind when you are talking about the performance? आपको क्या दिखता है, मुझे क्या चाहिए जिंदगी में, ये अगर आपको पता ही नहीं है तो आप कुछ ध्यान नहीं दोगे आपके टाइम को और आपकी एनर्जी को. अगर आपको ये पता है कि मुझे ये तो मिलाना ही है और इस वक्त ही मिलाना है, इफ यू हैव फिक्स्ड योर गोल्स, if you have a context which is really powerful, then only you will use your time and energy in a very effective way. Otherwise not. Then it won't matter whether social media you are using or you are not using. Social media is one small factor which will contribute to positively or negatively. Again, that will depend on what is your context. आपको अगर क्या चाहिए ये क्लियरली पता है तो आपको सोशल मीडिया कैसे यूज करना है ये समझ में आएगा आपके परफॉर्मेंस के लिए. नहीं तो सोशल मीडिया आपको यूज करेगा, जो अभी हो रहा है. इट इज अ सोशल मीडियम दैट इज यूजिंग वी पीपल बिकॉज वी डोंट नो what we really want in life, and we don't know how that social media can be used for accomplishing what we want to accomplish. And that's the question, that's the problem, that's the confusion. That's why the question has arisen. What is the impact of social media on academics? Okay, so I'll go fast now. When we talk of social media, what comes in your mind? Social media बोले तो क्या होता है? So generally it is considered social media are the media where we interact with people. But then that's not what social media is. Here is a complete definition. By noun it means websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. When elaborated, see the next definition. Social media are computer mediated tools that allow people to create, share or exchange information, ideas and pictures or videos in virtual communities and networks. Going again beyond this, see, if you differentiate between the social network and social media, what we generally consider social media is social network, whereas social network is a very little part of the social media. Social media pursues ubiquity. It is largely misunderstood and mistakenly addresses social media and social network as the same thing, but it is not so. Social media is such a broad term, it covers a large range of websites, but the one common link between these websites is that one can be able to interact with the website and interact with the other visitors. To define a particular medium as a social medium is, it is the medium wherein we can interact with that medium, that is where here we're talking about the website, and we are interacting with the people, other people who are interacting on that website. Social network is but just one example of the social media websites. Here are some of the social medias given. Different kinds of websites: Google, YouTube, Yahoo, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. These are some of the social media that we are using. And I believe most of you are using Facebook, most of you are using WhatsApp, right? Most of you are using YouTube to download videos. Most of you are using Google to search for the information, to create information, post information. There are so many such websites which are being used by us for different purposes. Now asked about what is the only reason you are using the websites and the network, who would like to answer this? Or what is the most important reason why you are using the social media? Who would like to answer this? When it started, very few people were using this, and they were using just to communicate with others. मजा आता था. हम लोगों ने भी जब शुरू किया था तो कुछ तो अलग दिखता था ना. अरे यार ऐसी इन्फॉर्मेशन डालते हैं और बाकी लोगों को सबको पता चल जाती है. हम भी देख सकते सभी का. वी कैन रीड व्हाट दे आर पोस्टिंग, उनका एक्टिविटीज क्या क्या चल रहा है. हमारे व्यूज हम डालते हैं उसमें, हमारे कमेंट्स डालते हैं, वो भी उनके कमेंट्स डालते हैं. वो लाइक करते हैं हमको, हम भी उनको लाइक करते हैं. इज दैट व्हाट वी आर डूइंग? सो इनिशियली व्हेन इट स्टार्टेड इट वाज this thing. Now we are inquiring whether it is impacting our academic performance, and this is a big question now. There are many studies that we are going to go to visit which say it is improving. There are many studies which say it is degrading the academic performance. Let us visit various studies. Effect of social media on academic performance. So we have here a brief review of literature, and I will read the slides. Just pay attention to this. Effect of social media on academic performance, literature review. This was in 2007. Bayard said, the increased use of social networking websites has become an international phenomena in the past several years. What started out as a hobby for some computer literate people has become a social norm now and way of life for people from all over the world. Teenagers and young adults have especially embraced these sites as a way to connect with their peers, share information, reinvent their responsibilities, and showcase their social lives. 2008, Quayle said, with the increase of technology used for communicating with others and the popularity of internet, social networking has become an activity that is done primarily on the internet with sites like MySpace, Facebook, Bebo, Friendster, and Janga. Many people actively participate in content generation and value generation, and several researchers have examined their profiles to determine why and to what extent they are keen on posting their entire identity. This is a question to you. Why and what extent they are keen on posting their entire identity, sharing pictures and videos, and indicating their religious affiliations, marital status, and political orientations on the internet. These users interact with others, exchange information about their interests, raise discussions about new topics, follows news about specific topics on different social networking sites. Teenagers now use the internet for majority of their daily activities and information gathering, as opposed to older generations who use resources like TV and newspaper. Kist in 2008 said the recent survey he did that showed that approximately 90% of teens in the United States have internet access. I believe in India this must be more than this number, 90%. This was in 2008, now we are in 2014. And about 75% of these teens use the internet more than once a day. This study also showed that approximately half of all teens who have internet access are also members of social networking sites and use the internet to make plans and socialize with friends. In September 2005, out of total adult internet users, 16% were those who were using any social networking site, and this percentage increased to 86% in 2010. In 2014, now we expect it to reach 100%. Now there are so many studies, and some of the studies are showing how this is. So first is what is so right now as far as social media goes. How we people age-wise, gender-wise are using, and what kind of social media we are using. Now what is the impact? Here it is Tuckman 75, this was in 75. He said something about the technology such as internet is one of the most important factors that can influence educational performance of students positively or negatively. We are inquiring that now, whether it is resulting into positive or negative impact. Shah in 2001 proposed that student users are affected by the internet, and this impact is determined by the type of internet uses. This impact is determined by the type of internet uses. They are positively affected by the informative use of internet while having drastic impact on recreational use of internet on them. Oskoi proposed that internet is advantageous to both students and teachers if used as a tool of knowledge creation and dissemination. Here there is if as a condition. He said it is advantageous to both students and teachers if it is used as a tool of knowledge creation and dissemination. Several studies have been done regarding social networking and grades, and Whitmore School of Business and Economics recently conducted a survey on 1,000 students, and they asked questions regarding which social network sites were used, how much time they spent on a site, what their grade point was, and what they were going to school for. And surprisingly, they concluded from the study that there is no correlation between how much time you spend on a social networking site and grades. So surprising. Let us look at what the other researchers have to say. The University of New Hampshire agrees and believes that current college students grew up in the technology era and social networking is now just a part of students' daily routine. So you cannot say don't use it. It is a part of their life. They are born and brought up in this new technology era. So there is no point in saying don't use it. What we have to do, that comes next. Their research show that 63% of heavy users received high grades. See this surprise. They show it is higher grade when they are using it compared to the light users. University of New Hampshire said that a majority of students use social networking for social connections and entertainment, but are also using it for educational and professional reasons. This Krishnera revealed that students, this is again something important, who multitask between social networking sites and homework are likely to have 20% lower grades than a student who does not have a social networking site in visual range. Even running a social networking site on the background on a student's PC while studying or doing homework could lower a student's grade. But the problem is that most people have Facebook or other social networking sites, their emails, and maybe instant messaging constantly running in the background while they are carrying out their tasks. American Educational Research Institution conducted a research and said it was declared on its annual conference in San Diego that the social networking sites users study less and generated lower grades eventually. This is in contrast to the next study. Similarly, Banquil found a continuing drop of grades. However, many researchers also found a positive association between use of internet and SNS and academic performance. So there are so many contradictions in what people are saying. Now let us look at some of the important studies at the end. This one. CORD 2008, following Cornell University, many institutions have adopted this approach to informing students by using anecdotal literature to guide their actions. The study looks at social networks in relation to its impact on academic needs. Social networks are studied with an educational context. This statement is very, very important. Social networks are studied with an educational context. The question that we asked to ourselves was, do we have a context for learning? They are a part of visual learning environment. The classroom is shifting in time and space with e-learning, and that is happening. We can't avoid this. It is happening right now. The rampant use of social networks for learning purposes by students makes this study imperative. SNS are part of their visual learning environment where the classroom is shifting in time and space, So if I am delivering a talk right now, maybe after 10 years, somebody sitting in his room will be listening to what I am talking here before 15 years. Because that kind of interactive media and the measures are being made available now. So we are talking of space and time, it is shifting. Now there are some of the selected important studies. There are conclusions of this study. This was published in International Journal of Scientific and Research Publications, Relationship of Social Media with Academic Performance. Conclusions based on the study where students' diversion from school activities to social media uses largely affect their academic performance. Students with lower grades are frequent users of social media, while the occasional user tends to concentrate on schoolwork and get satisfactory rating. This is very, very important finding. Another paper that was there in the International Journal of Computer Science, this paper showed that the time spent on social media, the frequency of the visits, and the total number of online friends has a statistically significant relationship with students' academic performance. Our experiments strongly supported our conjecture and show that if access to social media is restricted and controlled and the idle time is rather channeled into studying, this will greatly improve students' performance. In other words, what he is saying is that the use of social media uncontrolled, unchanneled is affecting the academic performance negatively. Another study, and this is from India, from Uttar Pradesh, Rajkumari Kalra, she has studied it, and an interesting conclusion she has drawn on the basis of the findings of her study was, students are managing their time efficiently and hence use of social networking sites does not harm their academic performance. Findings suggested that despite of spending time on internet or on using social networking sites, and even with the personality differences, students are efficient enough for their studies that they do not face any deficiency in meeting their studies requirements. Now here I have a question for you all. If 50 researchers are saying this is impacting negatively and the rest of the 50 are saying it is affecting positively, what do you conclude? What is there for you? Why those who say it is affecting positively say it is affecting positively, and what are the factors other than the social media there which affect it positively is a question for us. Is it social media really then? If it is so, then what is that factor along with the social media that will impact it positively or negatively is a question. And here is what I propose now. This is something what I am saying from my heart as my own study. So whatever we have seen by now is the research conducted till that. So these are some of the recommendations. We will see it at the end. This is what I propose, the theory I propose. The effects of social media on academic performance is based on, please pay careful attention to what I am saying right now. This is something which is the most important part of this topic. The effects of social media on academic performance is based on two things. One is, what is the context behind the use of social media? आप क्यों यूज कर रहे हो सोशल मीडिया को? आपको चाहिए क्या उसमें से? आपका कॉन्टेक्स्ट क्या है? अगर मेरा कॉन्टेक्स्ट ये है कि द सोशल मीडिया इज रियली एम्पावरिंग मी इन माय लाइफ, इन स्टडी एज वेल एज इन माय इमोशनल upliftment, then that context will really make that happen. If it is otherwise, then it will affect it negatively. So the context behind the use of social media is one, and second, what is the context for the academic performance? So for you to look at how the social media will impact the academic performance, the academic performance का context क्या है आपका? If your context is default context in a sense, आप इस तरह से जी रहे हो कि जो होगा सो होगा, कॉलेज में एडमिशन तो ले ली, पास हो जाएगी कभी तो, डिग्री तो मिल जाएगी, मिलने के बाद में जो होगा सो होगा. अगर ऐसा है, दिस बिकम्स अ डिफॉल्ट कॉन्टेक्स्ट. अगर ये है कि नहीं, मुझे ये करिकुलम करने के बाद, ये कोर्स करने के बाद में, दिस इज व्हाट आई वांट टू रियली अकम्प्लिश इन माय लाइफ, और दुनिया के लिए मुझे क्रिएट करना है, ये अगर आपका कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, तो डेफिनेटली योर एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस इज गोइंग टू बी अकॉर्डिंगली, एंड द यूज ऑफ सोशल मीडिया विल बी अकॉर्डिंगली. यू विथ मी? Of the thousands of studies, you go through the network and you will find there are thousands of studies mentioning the impact of social media. Some of them say it is negative, some of them say it is positive, some of them say it doesn't have an impact. But then, considering social media as one of the most important source that we have today available for getting knowledge, social media is one of the important source for getting communicated with people, with my teachers, with my friends, with my colleagues, with the people who are at a higher level in whatever I want to go to, whatever I want to accomplish. अगर मुझे दुनिया में इतने सारे लोग कनेक्ट हो सकता हूँ मैं उनके साथ, और वो अगर मुझे मेरे इम्प्रूवमेंट में हेल्प करते हैं, तो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज मच बेटर. Why can't we use the social media for betterment? We will use it only when your context for using it that, and your context for academic performance is something much bigger than who you are right now as a person. आप अभी जो हो, इस तरह से हो, जिंदगी लेके आई है यहाँ तक, जी रहे हैं, जीते रहेंगे. कैसे, कहाँ जाना है पता नहीं, कहाँ जाओगे, जहाँ जिंदगी ले जाएगी, कौन ले जाएगा आसपास के लोग ले जाएंगे, कोई इधर से मारेगा, कोई उधर से मारेगा, कोई बोलेगा इस रास्ते से मत जा, कोई बोलेगा उस रास्ते से मत जा, और कहीं तो जाएंगे, कहाँ तो भी जाएंगे. अल्टीमेटली व्हाट इज द रियलिटी? यू आर गोइंग टू एंड समवेयर. वी ऑल आर गोइंग टू एंड समवेयर. वी स्टार्टेड, वी आर गोइंग टू एंड. इन बिटवीन वी आर लिविंग व्हाटएवर वी आर लिविंग. एंड राइट नाउ इफ यू लुक एट अभी क्या है और आगे क्या करना है, तो इसके लिए कॉन्टेक्स्ट अगर आपका नहीं है तो you will land somewhere which will not really empower you, which will not really give you happiness, pleasure, free peace of mind and freedom. So this is what the theory I am proposing, and to explain this theory I say something like this. What gives us the performance? हमको परफॉर्मेंस जो मिलता है वो कैसे मिलता है? परफॉर्मेंस जो मिलता है तो परफॉर्मेंस कैसे मिलता है? यू टेक एन एक्शन एंड यू हैव अ परफॉर्मेंस. सो यू आर लर्निंग, यू आर टेकिंग सो मेनी एक्शंस, तो आपको परफॉर्मेंस मिलेगा. तो वो एक्शंस आप कैसे लोगे, क्यों लोगे? पढ़ाई करना नहीं करना इज एन एक्शन. तो पढ़ाई करोगे तो क्यों करोगे? देयर इज अ रीजन. सो हाउ द सिचुएशन अकर्स, our actions are correlated with the way how the situation occurs to us. जो अभी हम जी रहे हैं हमको कैसे दिखता है, and how the situation occurs to us is given by our context. So what is the context we are operating from is the most important question when we are thinking of the impact of social media. So how can social media impact the academic performance? By enhancing the effectivity and efficiency, or by reducing the effectivity and efficiency. What are the ways that social media can impact the efficiency and effectivity? If the context for using academic performance and learning is empowering with a strong purpose, then it might occur as the very important resource for academic excellence. You will use the social media for effectivity and efficiency in learning, and this will lead to excellence in that academic performance. If not, otherwise it will cause derogatory negative impact. So it will be related to your time use, it will be related to your energy use, and it will be related to the learning material use. Thus, creating a powerful context for academic performance by teaching institutions, by teachers and parents would allow the use of social media for effective and efficient academic performance is the most important crux of the topic. So it is not the social media, it is how you use the social media that will define what impact it has on your academic performance. So this is what I had to say about the impact of the social media on academic performance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for so much encouragement. Please be seated. Backside. Please be seated. As in, sir encouraged us to question ourselves. What is the purpose of academic excellence? Actually, who can tell me? Can anyone tell me? What is the actual purpose of academic excellence? Now, from this session, we have to only learn that what is the context of using social media in our life and what is actual context of academic performance. Okay? So, sir, thank you for having such an excellent session given by you. On behalf of all the students, staff of BMC College, I would like to thank Dr. Chopade for accepting our invitation in spite of their busy schedule, coming all the way to deliver such an informative, relevant lecture. This, I will believe, will definitely help us as users to internet and social media to think on the pros and cons associated with use of social media. Thank you, sir. Thanks again.
Sir.